So yeah, I've decided to. Yes, I've decided to do this over. This is I guess it's an AdamaCon panel, and we have some Q&A and stuff from this season of the show. We know the fans popping, but I don't think it's picking up. So you have AdamaCon. It's been a year since the last one, and we're gonna go over the stuff again. So this is this is the version you're going to see. There's some other stuff that we did during them. That's where we ended up not using that either. So that's what happens. So we have, I guess we'll just get done with the supposed controversies right away. Lower Decks did its final season. Prodigy did its final season. Earthrise also did its final season. The Lower Decks final season, they ignored the cliffhanger with the Locarno and went to something else, completely different, involving another version of Boimler, which was closer to our version. They paid attention to our fan film and some others, decided we're going to do that instead of the other version. And we're just going to ignore Planet Locarno and the Ferengi Genesis device, because that's kind of stupid. Over there at Star Trek. Prodigy continued with a Prodigy panel that was at GalaxyCon. We've been over that. There some similar mentions were made. It was the early stages at that point of doing Canary Space, noting there was a character named Dal in it, similar to their Dal, but ours was decades earlier. Similar name, decades earlier. But yes, no connection really. She was a Nightshade figure in that version, or they were. Yes, Earthspark did a trans character that the right-wingers freaked out before the episode even aired. The episode came out 6 months later, and it kind of mulled over it and didn't really cover it so much. One character says at one point they're trans, and then forgets about it. Later on, another character says they're trans, and then forgets about it. And in the final season, they didn't address it at all. So they clearly bowed to the right-wingers and said, we're just not going to mention it, which kind of sucks for them. So that's what they did. So that was that story. Yeah. Let's see that. So they shouldn't have done that. But we've done characters like that before. We've also kind of said, okay, we're not going to go there for whatever reason. But in our case, part of the reason for not going there isn't somebody complaining about it so much as that the characters in Starship Legacy and Starship Locations are loosely based on actual people from the CCC3 series, and because they are clearly loosely based on them, we can't actually make their character do anything they wouldn't normally do. So yeah, there's that. So just in case they were to watch it and go, oh wait, that's not what my character would ever do. Yeah. So yeah, many of the internet person have a problem with they get too involved with their fans, and then things happen that shouldn't happen with their fans, and that the fans are crazy and they go after them later. So we wanted to make sure that doesn't happen to us. Yes. So we have there are adults. They're all adults. There are people that are aware of Starship Locations, what it does, spoofs events I witness or see, and so they give advice to the show in terms of the journal that they never read. The journal entry they never read. Starship, I think it's called On Location Missions now. Over there at the journal, it's a diary. They're not going to read my diary. That's weird. It's not printed. It's not on the internet. It's not out there. The version that gets put out there is like a Starship version. What we did for Marshall Sportiest. What we did for that blog, the Fallen Ones thing. That was based on that guy's blog, Calavito blog. That kind of thing. He actually responded years ago to that one. He was actually part of that one years ago. That one was more like, oh, okay, yeah. He was actually, that particular story. I think we've been over that one. In that case, that guy, that author was like, you can use the comments in the blogs, just you don't need to put me in your byline on your fan film. You don't need to do that. It's yours. The comments, I don't own the comments. I don't care. But yeah, don't put me in your byline because we didn't co-author this at all. I don't know you. Well, that's fair. Yeah. All right, take it off. I just thought you might want to have your name in the byline. No, that's fine. I know where it came from. Just mention that's where it came from, the blog. That's fine. But yes, that was it. Jason Colavito. So there's but that was that. Now in the current period we have so one of the on-location missions, let's frame it that way, stories was Christmas and around Christmas area, white elephant gifts. You know what a white elephant gift is, right? So they have like, white elephant gift is something nobody wants. They want to get rid of it. So they give it to the other person that doesn't want it. Family members at the Airbnb around Christmas time did a white elephant gift exchange, and I didn't have mine. I'd forgotten it. And it was one of those Nightshade figures as a joke, because it was something they wouldn't want, because that's what a white elephant gift is. They weren't playing the game right. They wanted things they did want as a white elephant gift. So that's not how it works, because I'd played it earlier with the tea set from the season before. And that's how you play it. What I'm going to do with the tea set. But yeah, in an ESL class, like before, there was another white elephant party like a week earlier, a couple of weeks earlier, and then there was okay, so the setup for this next story is that so they got a gift they didn't want, basically. They didn't know that's what it is. If they looked up Nightshade, they'd be like, a trans robot. Oh, see, that's something they wouldn't want. Yeah. But I thought it was funny. I have 3, so got one. Well, next one. Trans robot. Yes. One of them was all, I hope it isn't a Star Trek. I don't want a Star Trek. I was like, no, it wasn't a Star Trek. It was a Transformer. Anyway, so yeah. Yes. Owl Transformer. Yes. So yeah, so there's that. So the other story. Well, okay, let's go to the other part. The C3 Studios thing. Each summer they have summer camps and VBS camps, and it's one of the coach / helpers, counselor, volunteer things for decades on this thing, and the other ones too, who grew up there, also decades. All consenting adults in the story. During the production of Legacy, the last season, and this season, that's his season too. There was a behind-the-scenes kind of thing where some of them were randy, some of them were thirsty, some of them frisky, let's say, and they got a little carried away. It wasn't me; I just observed it, and then they got in trouble. So I was thinking so of course after they got in trouble, it would be kind of fun to include a story like that in a story, like a fictional story. Can I do that? Not this story, but with other characters. And they're, sure, as long as their names aren't in it. I don't care. So yeah. So that's the basis of the character of Leo Starro in the Woods and Hertzman and all that. Although granted, because as I mentioned before, the characters aren't necessarily them, obviously, and are mixed up, obviously. Like the Kester character is mixed up with the Locarno character. They're switched personality-wise. The real people they're based on is completely flipped. So yeah, well, not completely flipped, as we discover that the later on that that emoji character, who was actually the Kestra character. That's what the is actually like that. So they're so she's like, well, actually, I kind of would do that. Actually, what's her comment? I would be bi. Yeah. So yeah, your character's accurate. Go for it. So okay. So it'd be her bi. Also, there was these other two characters inspiring that story. Aster and Kiriyoshi in the story, inspired by Next Generation characters. And Mark's Cards is like, I was telling it to Mark's Cards, to John, and there was a thing behind the scenes of that, and they were like, I had painted myself into a corner and said like, there was a time traveler lady that showed up, time traveler Kestra. She showed up and she said, oh, your daughter is going to break a model. Don't be mad at her in the future. It's going to 10 years in the future. That's where the 10 years in the future came from. 24th, 13th thing. They break a model in the future. Don't be mad. So it was a gag. It was sort of it's a wonderful life kind of gag thing. And Mark's Cards go, well, how do you know that his paramour's a woman? Could be a dude. So in that other episode when they have them meet up again in the 10 years in the future, he's married to. Okay. It was a woman. They adopted. Timeline is correct. It's fine. Fine. Because that also happened behind the scenes. There was like, oh, there are these other characters that are big, young, strapping men now. And they mentioned this to one of them, and then the guy was like, I hope you don't have the hots for me or something. It's like, no, not at all. He's like, sure. All adult stuff. All adults. So yeah, that's funny. So there are consultants on the show. Encourage they think they're in Starship Luke. They think what this is they're in the On Location Missions journal, and it's a blog somewhere on the internet. It isn't a blog on the internet, and not at all. It's not a blog on the internet. It doesn't go out on the internet. Amanda knows. She knows that it's not a blog on the internet. Yes, that it's the Star Trek website and thing, and of all the consultants on the show, her coming back that last season is because of that cast party was probably the most amusing. Near the end of the season, there, well, back in the day, there used to be, we used to do church plays, Easter plays, and Christmas plays and stuff. I was in the choir part, or I was in an small bit part or something. Now Martha moved back east, and the whole cast was back. I moved out, and some of the people are still there, but I mainly do the kid stuff instead, and you can't film that. So they filmed that, which is fine. That's not interesting. So to do that. So I ended up being an assistant director in the kid thing. Yeah, I wouldn't want to film that. That's what I mean. That'd be weird. Yeah. Middle-aged guy filming that. Yeah, here's what the kids are doing. No, that'd be creepy. That'd be cringe. No. That'd be cringy. So the adults used to have like a gathering after the plays were done. So Amanda just assumed that after the play was done, yes, after the kid play was done, oh yeah, there's going to be a gathering, right? A cast party gathering. That ended up in the missions journal thing. That was on my blog, but I think I took that down since then. But it was up there for a while. But some pieces of that are still there. But it didn't name names, except for named her first name. but yes, also. So they would meet for like Denny's or dinner after the play. It'd be like a cast party. That's what I was calling it. I shouldn't have called it that. I should have said I don't know anything about that. But the fact that I said right after I did that I didn't set her up to think that I did, and that she still wasn't invited. But there wasn't one. Eventually there was one a week later for the kid play, but as was pointed out in the story later on, I doubt she wanted to go hang out with a bunch of children and see their party. That I was not technically going to that either. So, yeah. I mean, if you mean the group met upstairs in the upper room again. Sure, but that wasn't for any of us. That was for them. Yeah, be weird. And it wasn't anything untoward at all. It was boring. It was, and you don't want to watch that. The kids are watching a movie, and yeah, there was one later on, like weeks later. But yeah, it had nothing to do with us. Not even to do with me, really. I was just in the background briefly. So then there's then along comes Christmas Eve in there. There was actually a gathering after the Christmas Eve light service thing, and invited her to that, but she didn't want to go. But she never really went to any of those. So. Anyway, earlier on, the story that inspired this whole season was her Brazil trip, Amanda's Brazil trip fiasco, which was intended to actually be used in one of your funny Star Treks. Yeah, so she was in on it. I don't want to. She wasn't the thirsty person, mind you. She's not thirsty at all. She was like, no, I don't even do that. I'm not one of those characters. I'm like a Q or something, and I do this. Yeah, I don't even address that kind of stuff. My character would be sarcastic about that. I don't even like the gossip. Yeah, so her character's not one of the thirsty ones. She's a Q. She's above that. But yes, the Abbeys, the adult Abbeys, the adult ones. There was a younger one, but we're not talking about that one. The adult one. The adult ones. They're 20. And it's weird because it's like Starfleet Academy, but it isn't. And I know it isn't. And they're not involved in the production. They're not writing for. Yeah, there's no guy based on that Leo Starrow's based on walking around on the set, going, I have ideas. That's not what's going on. The other characters didn't come here and meet and go, oh, we're going to come up with an episode. It was more like in the church setting, they said a bunch of stuff and said, this is okay, it's funny, do whatever, we don't care. Use it. That kind of stuff. So so change the names around. So. Yeah, nobody was upset about anything untoward. Nobody was upset about even the cast party, really, because you knew she wasn't going to go. Her family was around. They'd have to go too. That would have thrown everything off. The only thing she objected to was the appearance of the sister in the other story. The dentist part was funny. That was very funny. That was a very funny scene. And the gossip scene was funny. You made up the gossip from this other guy who has the illegitimate child or something thing we stole from a TMS character. He doesn't. I think that. Yeah, I guess I could go into that too. Why not? So there was. So Mark TMS Marshall Sportist. Why not? Let's go into that. TMS Marshall Sportiest was COL, the City of Light Cult. The cult, the Jones One cult, see the Lighthouse cult, COL. That was a big deal until 2007 when I left, and then there was other stuff. There was martial arts school for 18 years. So there were several online books. They did blog about it. They blogged a lot about it. There was a large online section with 4,000 entries on the Bullshido account that was taken down in 2023, but then reposted in 2024 by someone else who wanted to just keep it up there, probably the original moderator. Then there were some other ones by other people, the Kitfley, the Weird Girlie, the various other ones. And it looks like Kal Kat is mentioned in there in places. Well, it's Kitty Key, it's not Kal Kat. But it does seem like me. And apparently they spread a rumor about this other guy that he fooled around on South every weekend with a divorced lady and they had a kid. It's ridiculous. I would think this particular person would know that that happened. So that's all that was about. There was no that. I know who this person is, but no. Just it's like that would be bizarre. And I haven't seen them in 10 years. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. So if they did, that's kind of funny. Also, the latest rumor is that the whole tragic backstory of the war orphan slash the person, the master, the guru lady. I won't name her name, but you know who she is. Currently has similar to onset dementia, similar to other mom had, similar to that, and a similar case, and doesn't have any idea she did all these things that she did because she's completely out of it. The master, she's yeah, they're running the place now, if there's anything left of it, and so they're running the place, and it used to be like a large part of what became the TMS, the martial sportist, what became the Cillian stories, what became On Location. A big part of On Location, that martial arts school, big part of it, Chung Swan. So yeah, I stopped because of back problems, but then other things came up later. That had nothing to do with me. So that's the story about that. I was not involved in taking down a cult. That'd be kind of impossible. What? We'll call the instance of appearing. There was a church family visiting that used to be at the cult as well, and they used other colorful words to describe it. Let's say, not just a cult, an effing cult. Yeah, you can guess what effing is. But yes, they were there, but at an event. But yeah, so whenever Martial Sporties pops up in there, the few fans we still have on their channel comment on that and go, yeah, there's another reference to that martial arts school, that mess that happened. Yeah, there's another reference to that in this Legacy episode. Sure, why not? And then the Canary the Vanguards episode says, oh, Mark TMS people, I thought they were extinct. So they're extinct by 2488. Who knew? But yes, the Q episode. Yeah, the whole Q episode, the whole story arc, the whole idea of setting up those characters being Q and having it all be. Well, the Cillian universe is set in 2025. Right? It's set now. It's current. It's whatever current year it is. Right? So it lines up with whatever next generation period it is. It'd be 2403 now in the next generation, lining it up with the next generation DS9 Voyager. It'd be in the classic Trek. It'd be 2325 now, after the Tomid incident by about 13 years. The Enterprise B flying around, almost the Enterprise C, but not quite. Yeah, which they addressed in Section 31. Which also aired. Section 31 was not very good. Not a very good movie. That is their latest movie. It's the latest Abrams movie. It counts as a movie. It was on TV, and they didn't. That origin story has been apparently dropped. I haven't heard anything for months about that. Although we did get some hilarious rumor clapback from the. So early on during production on Canary, Space, and Vanguard, popped in on some other channels and said on my channels because of a rumor about the Orville that came out a year ago, this April, a year ago, that they were at a convention. Somebody was at a Star Trek, allegedly Las Vegas Star Trek convention, but the original story was just a convention. They had to make it more dramatic, so it was a Las Vegas convention. It wasn't. It was just a convention. He showed up at a convention. It's probably similar to a GalaxyCon, actually. So he showed up at it, and he was like, somebody asked him, is there going to, a really loaded question, is there going to be more Orville? And what he said is, something is happening in January. Production is happening in January. That's what he said, but he was half joking. Launched the internet into a frenzy on the level of Michael Gemelt 10 years earlier in his I'm going to pitch for Star Trek, even though no fan may ever pitch for Star Trek. Thus say the Star Trek gods at Paramount. No fan may ever pitch for Star Trek. We can steal your ideas, but you're not pitching for us. That's what I say on my channel. Steal our ideas. Yeah, they can steal our ideas. That's fine, because it's their copyrighted material. It's their sandbox for us to play in. You see. We can play in it as long as we don't take any money. They're okay with that. So yeah, jump ahead and avoid all that other stuff. Avoid Starfleet Academy, 3190. Anyway, so anyway, the Orville thing starts off a frenzy. Nobody thinks to contact Seth MacFarlane. They contact 3 of the other cast members, including Adrian Palaki, who was like, "I'm not going back. I'm not going back to it. If they do another one, I'm not going back." That's just exactly. That played the wife on the show. I'm not going back. They never asked Seth MacFarlane about, who was a director. About 6 months after that, I did. What is that? I was like, why not just say, what's Scott talking about? What's he talking about? And he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Posted that. Said, yeah, a certain fan went over to the guy and actually asked him. And it wasn't the only one, by the way. There were other ones. I wasn't even on Twitter or anything. It was just like an open forum. So yeah, let's ask him. Yeah, Seth, your commentary on your channel. Is there anything to this rumor? He's all, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Do you think Disney and Hulu, more a point of it, think Disney and Hulu would be talking about it already in the trade, saying, oh, there's something going on. February rolls around. March rolls around. Nothing. Silence. Even Kathleen Kennedy herself, or at Disney. Even the Disney Bob Iger, you know, even him. No one. Nothing. Because there isn't anything. And now it's May, and there isn't anything. There's no production. There's no ships. There's no sets. There's no scripts. Nothing. Anyway, Orville guy, who was a Pineville student, another one from back in the day, from the Cillian era. He gets mad at the Star Trek people. He goes after directly after this. I didn't bother seeing his clickbaity review because I knew what he was going to say. But yes, yeah, but it was proven false. The rumor was false. So, that's all we get. We were right. Yeah, we think we know what Disney and Marvel will do. They would be talking about it. They'd be like, ooh, there's especially now it's May. They'd be like, oh yeah, there's something coming in September or something. Now they're gonna quote me on that. Nope, there isn't. There isn't. And Scott Grimes, also somebody, Scott Grimes, why not? He clarified. He said, well, things are always happening. He was kidding. Things are always happening. Good production, things are happening. So that's the Orville story. We don't know. But we stumped another rumor. Just like the Gamelt one. Although I think after all the time that Gamelt is probably okay with Starship locations, because we did a fair review and analysis of his script, which was never a fan film in that case. It was 10 years ago. And it was a script. It was a screenplay. And not a very well written one. And yeah. And Star Trek people looked at it back in the day, at the time. Some of them have passed since then. But yeah, they looked at it. And they're all, this would never fly even if you could publish it. It's just, your script isn't good enough. Rewrite it. And don't include character actors like Sean Connery. Because you can't just put actors in your fan film that aren't cast in your fan film. Sean Connery and whatever. And another thing that was Gamelt. He got in trouble for the ship art too. It's like, you should have asked some other Trek guy was like, that's my ship art. You can't do that without my permission. It's a ship art that he put in there. It's like, he couldn't even draw his own artwork. It's kind of messed up. At least with ours, we build our own models. Ooh. Yeah, so let's talk about segue into models, or we're talking about... Yeah, I guess so. Canary Space and Well, I've been over Canary Space and Vanguards quite a lot. Canary Space Story was originally planned as 4 movies because the third one was really long, so it was spread up into 4 movies. Similar to what happened later with the other ones, with the legacy ones, in that there was stuff left over that had to be finished off. We couldn't just leave our main characters stuck on that planet. They had to get back to Earth, and that would have been like another hour. So we're like, okay, let's get a little bit from the next book and put it in there. That's what we did. With Vanguard Space, we hadn't even three movies in mind, and only a little bit, maybe a half an hour of the next book. So it was still 2.5 hours. It's still fine. So we just said, okay, because that was a cliffhanger as well. They were serialized. It's a cliffhanger. So I had to finish the cliffhanger, and then it comes to a satisfying conclusion. I think the characters come to a conclusion, and some fans were asking, okay, what is this Raxler thing in Q and Clark, and they have like a chaos moment in the continuum. And did it happen or didn't it? Q is messing with them. It probably didn't happen. Q is messing with them. Yeah, but you can write your own slash fiction if you want to. Anyway, so the ship model stuff. So Uncle Bill Galinsky over in Duluth used to build models. He also passed away, and he used to build these terrific ship models and wooden ship models and stuff. My sister Ramona, one of my sisters was a journeyman carpenter, built a terrific large scale stuff. I also have a knack for building little wood models and stuff. All of my models in the thing are post group style, ILM style models. So they're models, ship models, including the Pink Tower and all that, under the pseudonym Miles Apinis, yes. And all that, and all the other models for the thing, for Transtech and Star Trek. We used a little more CGI for the other one. Well, we made CAD, computer-aided drafting is what it is. It's not CGI, it's computer-aided drafting. Onto the backgrounds and foreground. Really primitive because it's just Photoshop. Really primitive. Although Scott, the gamer guy, said, "Oh, you should totally get a gamer computer and learn to do 3D animation." It's a little late for that, I think. I don't think I can teach myself 3D animation with a gamer computer. Take way too long. But yes. But we did during that Christmas holiday season thing. I also didn't go to an incidents of meeting famous people. Apparently, I met the Star Trek Online guys who were. Some of them showed up at the church. Scott. He worked at Star Trek Online, and him and a bunch of people got canned. Well, they got laid off and they left. Going to go work for someone else. Going to go over for DC now. And they were at the thing. Co-workers. He just nonchalantly mentions them as his co-workers the night before the show, the night of the first show. Then the second night, they're gone. And he goes, "Oh yeah, those are the guys from Star Trek Online, including this really famous guy." Should have mentioned that at the time. That I could have gotten his autograph or something. He's like, "I didn't think of that." Oh man. But yeah, at the time, that would have been great. Say, this is so and so, ship model designer guy. That would have been cool. You didn't think of that at the time. So there was an example of this. There was also one of the cast from back in the day showed up, and I was remarking on a Halloween costume, a cat Halloween costume that I had that her older sister didn't remember, and she said, and now that she's an adult, she said, "That was me. That's why she didn't remember. That was me." It was the other girl. Yeah. I remember it. Was the wrong girl. Oh. Oops. So yeah. Yeah, so when you do like a character in the story that's like has motives that kind of seem similar to somebody in reality, you kind of gotta wear the kid gloves because you don't want to necessarily say okay, this person in the story is going to behave a certain way. Even with Transformers, you have to be a little bit on about that too, because you don't want to necessarily You want Optimus Prime to turn evil, for example. So what you do with the more Transformers stuff is you just introduce a bunch of Transformers that aren't as familiar. Yeah, you have them go on an adventure with Springer and RC or something. An adventure with Cup or something. You don't know a lot about the other people that are with Cup, so they become the main people or something like that. You know the Dinobots, you know Cup and everything, but the lesser characters. You don't get anything about Crosshairs at all. Crosshairs or something like that. You know? Nothing about Crosshairs. Something like that. So, so yeah, so you can do just about anything in that sandbox as well. Although the strange irony is, there was another rumor. Didn't last long though, not this one. Disney bought out Paramount. Not true. I would know if Disney bought out Paramount. Both ends of the spectrum. Get you Disney Marvel guys, and I've been critical of some of those new Marvel movies. They're not quite doing what they're supposed to do. And some of the Disney and some of the ones over there at Paramount as well. The new ones. I haven't been a Star Trek hater, and I haven't been a Disney hater, but some of these are weak. They could have done better. Section 31, they could have that needed a polish. You can't condense an 8-episode thing into a movie when it doesn't work. In some cases, you should condense it into a movie when it doesn't work. The Book of Boba Fett needed to be a 2-hour movie, if at all. Mark's Carr says it didn't need to happen. But he got eaten by a sand vagina thing. He dead. That shouldn't have never happened. Then I'm all, well, okay, Mandalorian, halfway through Mandalorian shows up, and Cat Bane shows up. Ooh. It's like, well, that's just like, yeah, that didn't need to be in there either. This could have been a 2-hour movie. They could have cut out all the other stuff. All the other backstory of him in the past getting out of there. Just say it's somebody else at that point. Might as well. Or the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. Could have been a movie instead of a series. It would have been better just as a movie. I guess Ashoka would have been better as just a movie. Not serious. I guess this, the Acolyte. There's nothing you could do with the Acolyte. It was a mess. And it wasn't because, they're space lesbians. That wasn't it. No, it just wasn't very well written. Snow White. It wasn't very well written on the Disney. All these Disney movies are not very well written. And and of course the actress is toxic. She's like, she's not making any fans. So there you go. So it's not a misogynistic thing. It's just that she's toxic. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see your movie. I did. I watched it. Yeah, it wasn't very well done. It looked like they reshot about half of it. They can deny they reshot half of it, but no, they did. And the other movie, what was it? The Red Hulk movie. Brave New World, trying desperately to be Winter Soldier again, using the same beats as Winter Soldier, as Phil Meadow pointed out. But I also pointed out weeks before he did. I did see Thunderbolts though, which was good, a little better, but the idea of doing kind of a Guardians of the Galaxy thing again, yet the same template. I think, and of course, that thing about framing a movie. But we don't need to go into that because they kind of already did in some other stuff. I see no point in even posting that. But yeah, I posted the Thunderbolts thing. Did I say Thunderbirds or Thunderbolts? Thunderbirds wasn't going either. But yes, Thunderbolts. So we have it works, but New Avengers, they're not New Avengers. They're just not. That doesn't work. Although, what I said back in the day, 4.5 years ago or so, I said, they need to make a Fantastic Four movie and reboot it better than that 2016 one. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. This is like, I said this like the 2016 one. It was like a couple of years after the 2016 one, before the pandemic. During the pandemic, I think. So it was 2020. It was 5 years ago then. Oh, wow. Almost 5 years ago. I said, this is your idea for a Fantastic Four movie. You have Galactus and the Silver Surfer. They find the board and they go on a mysterious thing. You have it set in the 60s. You have it It's a retro futuristic kind of thing. You do the old school Corman look because that's cooler. Don't do it like, doesn't look like any of the modern ones. And yeah, that's Fantastic Four. It's coming out. So. It's a Kal Kat one. But yes, no, it's not. I did not make that movie, but I did suggest it to them, and they did watch. Really, that's what we're gonna do. And James Gunn's Superman Legacy. They took Legacy off because Kal Kat's using Legacy too much. Star Trek Legacy, Transformers Legacy. Don't use Legacy. Just Superman. That was the suggestion to Scott, who suggested it. Just call it Superman. But have the theme song sound really cool. Yeah, have a throwback theme song. Some people don't like the throwback air guitar theme song, but I think it works though. I think the way they did it in the trailer works. Having that sort of like rock and roll, like you know, that's just sounds cool. Or yeah, it makes it more. It looks interesting. Looks like it's going to be more fun. It's James Gunn, of course. Who back in the day, him and Peter Jackson would have been the two choices to direct the Mall Massacre, the infamous splatter comedy, The Warriors in a Mall Killing Everybody, a movie that we never got made, which was a story that we'd written in college. I was in college. Marcus Cars was just barely in college. Yeah, never got made because we figured if this ever got made as a movie, it'd be coming out just as some disaster would happen in a mall, and they blame it on us. Somebody get killed. You know that would happen. It would be inevitable. So that one never got made. But there's lots of other Mall Massacre type movies out there. So. Oh, yes. That's it for the Q&A, I guess. I don't think I missed anything. And this is sort of an AdamaCon. Also, let's see, Fanime in a couple weeks. Possibly Mark's Cards with that one as well. But GalaxyCon comes in August, right in the middle. And if we're saving up for Disneyland at the end of August, it's impossible to do GalaxyCon 2. And although it has Lou Ferrigno and William Shatner and Celia Moonfry, even though it doesn't have all the other Star Trek people. If there were more Star Trek people there, I would say, maybe we ought to hit that. We ought to go to that one. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe we ought to go to that. Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's always interesting to see these Star Trek people and discover how much older they are. But of course they would be. It's like 30 years. You see them, though they're young and they're 30 years on the show, they're ancient now. I mean, heck, if Will Wheaton and I are middle-aged, they're quite a bit beyond middle-aged, all of them. They would be. Patrick Stewart be 85 or something now? He'd be old. Real old. He ain't doing much of that anymore. But yeah. They always needed to do a Deep Space Nine movie. They shouldn't do an origin story. And I guess Robert Picardo gets to come out and play in the 3190s. Somehow they regenerate him or something? I don't know. How does that work? He looks older though. It's like he's 80 himself. Well, pretty near. His 70s something. But yeah, anyway, yeah. This is sort of an AdamaCon, but it's sort of not. Yeah. Doesn't need to cut out. I think this version of it works. I think it's fine. The next Johnny visit is July, possibly. He canceled June a week ago, so who knows? Half the toy collection is gone, including his. Didn't know. Unless they're hidden off somewhere and I can't find it. I don't remember where I hid them. They could be hidden where I don't remember I hid them. I don't know. It's all just, yeah. I don't think he really wants him back, though. It's been 35 years. Why would he want him? No, I want him back. Has it been 35 years? It's been almost that. It's probably 30 years. We're closer to 30 years. It's 2025. It was probably, well, yeah, 2001. 25 years. No, it was earlier than that. It was the 90s. It was the mid-90s. 35 years. 30 years. 30 years, probably. But yeah, I was expected to keep that stuff for 30 years. No. Yeah, but yeah, all the classic ones. The classic ones are the only ones that the Goodwill wanted. They didn't want the other ones. Classic and Armada, they wanted those. They want the other ones. I kept the Unicron though. Some of the other ones. Yeah. Yeah, so the next movie project will be a Transformers one. I just haven't come up with any ideas. And I don't want to make it just, I'm going to wing it, because it'll suck. I kind of wanted to do a reboot of Carta, it being 40 years after Carta. Almost coming up. But I'm not sure. We've done that a couple of times. And Carta would have to be Transformers playing Carta because we don't build them anymore. Now, as for building models, we built the Galinsky class, which is the Star Trek models. I should probably go over the models at some point. That's why a lot of them are out in the background. The other story. So I will review some of the models, some of the hero ships, on the other channel. And this has been the Kal Kat thing. And you're watching, yeah, this is going to be an on-location cat, I guess, on that channel. Yeah, this is just shooting the breeze about what's going on the channel. Yeah. This is not a season of the Kal Kat show or anything. It's just what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it.